So, welcome to day 3 of our GDPR 5-day challenge. Um, I hope you all succeeded in writing your plan for responding to a data subject access request yesterday. And I know a few of you came to the workshop yesterday afternoon, and it was great to go through that with you. Don't forget that we have a live workshop at 5 p.m. each day this week, apart from Friday when it's going to be at 4 p.m. So we've got a bit more time if we need it. And so that's the plan for today. So today, let's go into what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to talk about data breaches and security measures. And data breaches is probably one of the biggest things that people worry about, and quite rightly, as far as GDPR is concerned. So I'm going to run through data breaches with you, what you need to do, what you don't need to do. And the key thing with data breaches is to record what happened. In a nutshell, the key with data breaches is to record what happened, who it happened to, how it happened, why it happened, where it happened, when it happened, and what you've done about it. So it's really, really not difficult, but it is a process which has to be followed. So the first thing, as it says, is recording what happened, and be as precise as you can about what has happened, whether that's simply you've sent a wrong invoice to a wrong person, because that's a data breach, or whether you've had malicious people hacking into your network, because obviously that's a data breach, or someone's left a unprotected laptop on the train, because that's a data breach. The data breaches come in all sorts of forms, but the key element to begin with is recording what happened and the date and time, but we'll come on to that a bit at the end. So the next thing then is whose data was involved. So was it just one person? Was it a number of people? Was it maybe your whole payroll? Was it your whole customer list? Was it a subset of your customer list? Whose data was involved? And really, how many records? Because there's a whole difference in response and amplitude between if it's just one person being sent the wrong invoice or one person being given the wrong pay slip, to if it's something that affects your whole workforce or affects 200 of your customers. And there is no hard and fast rule about what number of people then makes it a major incident or a minor incident. It really is a mixture of how many people, who they are, and what data was involved. So once we've got whose data was involved and we've got what happened and what data was involved, then we come on to the question of how it happened. So how did it happen? Did you just put the wrong invoice in the wrong envelope? Did you leave your laptop on the train? Did you come in the morning to find that someone had hacked into your system overnight and stolen half your customer database? How did it happen? Remember, it affects paper records too. So did you come back into reception and find that your visitors book had disappeared? You might think, really? Is that a data breach? Yeah, of course it's a data breach. People got someone else's information. I now know, if I take your visitors book, I now know exactly who was in your building yesterday. Now, it depends what your building is as to whether that's sensitive information or not, but I know. I have a slight anecdote here where I remember going to a client site. They were fairly competent. They were all okay with GDPR, they told me. I went into reception. I told the receptionist I was there to see. She went off from reception, left the reception totally unmanned, totally unprotected, to go and find the person I'd gone to see. So while she was gone, I swiped their visitor's book and put it in my briefcase. when I then went in to see the managing director, the person I was there to see, he said, yeah, we're not really sure we need you, because we know everything about GDPR. We're perfectly safe here. I said, are you? Yeah. So I opened my briefcase and I said, do you recognise that? And he said, yeah, that's our visitors book. He said, what are you doing with that? I said, I stole it. And he said, what do you mean you stole it? I said, well, your receptionist came to find you, tell you I was here. Well, she was drawn out of reception. Reception was unmanned. I nicked the visitors book. I said, now, as it is, now I'm done. Yeah, I've done it quite openly. I said, but what if I'd been a bad actor? I could have come in, taken that, and gone. I said, your visitors book's really handy because it actually asks people for not just their name and what company they work for, but their mobile phone number and their email address. Now I said, no, I'm not sure why you asked for that in the visitors book, but you do. I said, and so I've now got all that information. I'd probably have information on 400 people. I took your visitors book. Oh yeah, I see. We've got a problem. So you see how easy it is. People seeing data breaches as being big things that make the news, whereas people hack into, I don't know, British Airways and steal 10,000 records. But it doesn't have to be. It can be something really simple. So we talked how it happened, and then we talked why it happened. So we take the visitors book. How did it happen? Someone stole the visitors book. Why did it happen? Because we left reception unmanned. So it's how it happened, and now why it happened. So we now know what happened and what data was involved. We know who it happened to. We know how it happened, and we know why it happened. So the next thing then is where it happened. So did it happen on your premises? Did it happen on the train? Did it happen because you dropped a piece of paper as you're walking across the car park? Where? Where did it happen? And then the final column is when did it happen? And more importantly, when was it discovered? Why is when it was discovered important? We'll come on to that in a moment about reporting to the ICO, but it is really important that you don't just record when it happened, you recorded when it was discovered. Now, the two may well be the same date and time, but equally it may well not be. Maybe something happened overnight and you didn't know until 10 o'clock in the morning that it had happened. So, then when it happened may well not be when it was discovered, but it's when it was discovered, it's a crucial time. Because within 72 hours of it being discovered, you have to decide whether to report it to the ICO. And I put check with DPO first. If you've got a DPO, if you're using somebody like myself, or you've got an internal person who's your DPO, check with them first before you decide whether to report it to the ICO. Because the worst thing you can do is call the ICO and say, I think we might have had a data breach. Because if you do that, you set the hairs running, and you really don't want to do that. In my experience, in 9 out of 10, I'd say probably 9.5 out of 10 cases, to be honest, it doesn't need to be reported to the ICO. The ICO is only really interested if either you've lost sensitive information about a vulnerable person, or you've lost data across all your employees, or you've lost data across 50 or more of your customers. Now, don't take that figure as being written in stone, because it isn't. As I said earlier, it depends very much what the data was as to where that threshold lies. But don't instantly run off and report it to the ICO. Only report it to the ICO if those conditions are met. But do remember that you've got 72 hours from when the data breach was discovered to report it. If it needs reporting, you've got 72 hours. And those 72 hours start from the moment, the date and time that you say you discovered it. Please, if you're using someone like myself to help you, or even if you're not, to be honest, don't do what one of my clients did, was that they discovered a data breach at 5:20 on a Friday evening, but they thought, you know what, I want to go home. So they didn't bother reporting it to me then, or speaking to me about it then. They didn't speak to me about it till 10:30 on Monday morning, by which time we were well into the 72 hours to decide whether we needed to report it or not. Because, as I say, the 72 hours is from the moment it's discovered. It doesn't care about Saturdays and Sundays. It doesn't care about bank holidays. It doesn't care about Christmas. It's 72 hours from when it was discovered. So you just have to move, just a little bit fleet of foot, because 72 hours, believe me, if it's a complicated data breach, goes very quickly. The other thing to remember, and I'm going to close on this for today, is that these rules apply to all personal data, however it's stored. So whether it is computer data, which typically is what people think about, or whether it's good old pen and paper, or whether it's, typewritten computer output on paper, same rules apply. So, you obviously you can have a password on your PC. You can't really have a password on your notebook, on your notepad. It doesn't work. So do treat them carefully. But also remember, as I said, I think on day one, GDPR only applies if data is held in a structured filing system. So it's not in a structured filing system. If you've just got business cards randomly scattered around your office, don't worry about those. Someone comes in and nicks them, well, good luck to them. It's not your problem. Well, it might be your problem because they might have broken in, but as soon as they haven't broken in, then it's not your problem. But if it's in a structured filing system, if you got all your business cards in a Rolodex and somebody steals the Rolodex, you've got a problem. So they're in the structured filing system, and so they fall under GDPR. Fluky part of the system, but that's the way it is. So that's it for today. But if you've been here since Monday, you'll know that I set you a task every day. And the task for you before tomorrow, and you don't need to do this in massive and massive detail. I'm not looking for that at this stage. Just an A4 sheet will do. But create a data breach response plan for your organisation. So suppose you come in tomorrow morning and you discover there's a data breach. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to handle it? And don't forget, if you have any questions, then you can contact me, preferably by email, or if it's urgent, you can contact me by mobile phone. Or, of course, you can come along to the workshop at 5 o'clock this evening. As I say, all the 5 o'clock sessions are completely live, so you can ask me a question there and then. But with that, thank you for attending day 3. Only 2 more days to go. And yeah, I hope you're finding the content of this challenge useful and giving you things that you can apply in your business. And I'd love to have feedback from you. So if you've got any feedback for me, please do let me have it. It's always great to see how people are using what we're doing. So with that, thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow.